Immigration. President Trump talking real tough about the border. Roll that tape, please.
Well, Mexico's tough. They can stop them, but they chose not to. Now they're going to stop them. And if they don't stop them, we're closing the border. They'll close it, and we'll keep it closed for a long time. I'm not playing games.
All right, not playing games. Congressman Andy Biggs, Republican Arizona, joins us now. Look, you're a border state. If they close the crossing points, that would have serious implications for Arizona. Do you support the closure of the border?
Well, look, I'm hearing from my constituents nothing on this. The border, in many respects, needs to be closed, but it would cause economic distress in Arizona and throughout the rest of the country. We have one border crossing where you have almost 25,000 people cross every day just to work in our fields in Arizona, and thousands of trucks crossing the border. But, you know, Stuart, we're going to interdict about 1.5 million people coming across this year. It's an invasion. When we closed the border after 9/11, we saw the drug trade and the human trafficking trade in Phoenix, 120 miles north of the border, absolutely dry up within about 7 days.
Well, then would you favor a border closure? Because there's no question it's a crisis. There's no question about it. I mean, I have to ask you really strongly here. Would you support the closure of the border?
I would support a temporary closure of the border with respect to closing it as much as possible, but with respect that it has to be short-term. It has to be basically a cudgel against Mexico right now. It will hurt us if we close the border economically in Arizona. There's no doubt about it. And that's a problem. But look, when we closed it after 9/11, the whole country was unified. Right now, 50% of the country says there's a problem, we should do something like close the border. But if you close the border, you have 50% of the country, including members of Congress, who say there's really no problem. Why should we do something like that? And so we would have tremendous, I don't want to say unrest, but the discord in this country over that issue. Economic interests say no, but humanitarian interests and what we've got happening on the border, this crisis, is a yes.
Congressman, I want to just show you former Obama Homeland Security Chief Jay Johnson, him talking about the border. Roll that tape, please.
By anyone's definition, by any measure, right now we have a crisis at our southern border. According to the commissioner of CBP, there were 4,000 apprehensions in one day alone this past week, and we're on pace for 100,000 apprehensions on our southern border this month. That is by far a greater number than anything I saw on my watch in my 3 years as Secretary of Homeland Security.
Now, that was President Obama's Homeland Security Chief, Jay Johnson. He did not qualify the word crisis. He didn't say it was a manufactured crisis. He said it's a crisis. And I wonder, what options does the president have other than closing the border? Because we are being invaded.
He has few options, and that's the reality of it. And that's why closing the border, it'll cause us some economic distress, but it has to be done if we're going to inspire Mexico to do what it needs to do. It's not enforcing its own immigration laws. And so we get these caravans, and now there's this massive caravan that's working its way up. You know, if Mexico were to stop these people, then we would be able to control our border. But we have no control right now.
You hope that this threat from the president to close the border will have an impact on Mexico's government and they'll do something, right?
Yes, exactly right. We need a deterrent. We need a deterrent. We need help.
Andy Biggs, very difficult situation down there in Arizona for everybody, I would suspect. And we thank you for joining us on a difficult subject. Andy Biggs, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Stuart.